Yeah, this broadcast is on the air. We'll just continue with the conversation we have.
It's a way to keep us from talking about it or addressing the issues. Like, well, you know, that's racist. Like, no, it's not. But it's another shaming tactic.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a shaming tactic to shut down conversation, shut down the debate, and you know, like I like to say, it's really somebody doesn't want a controversial truth to be spoken about. That's what it is, more than anything. So literally, when people start calling me a racist, now I've started to get kind of rude back with them, and I've started to, you know, call them genocidal maniacs and criminals, and go right at them with some of the most brutal talk that I can, because otherwise they're going to sit there and they're going to beat me up left, right, and center for being a racist against my own fucking people. Which just, it blows my mind, especially within, like, you know, the Jews and the Israelites. There's probably more racism within that community amongst itself than probably any other community on the planet. But it's like nobody can speak about it. None of them can speak about it, and nobody outside the community can speak about it. But everybody's got some real deep hate towards each other.
It's that underlying language that Mgtow got created.
Yeah, exactly. A great book about that.
Go ahead.
Isn't there a great book about that called The Self-Deprecating Jew? I can't remember who wrote that one. He says, you know, if he doesn't do this, then he's just one of those people that are just going to have to take it.
Yeah. I was saying, and what blows my mind is you see these videos come out where some black girl's on there telling everyone that black people can't be racist or something, and I'm like, how do you get to that? How did you get to that intellectual point of stupidity? How did you get that far?
Oh yeah, that's the that comes from that group of from the Bluest Eye, Tawny Phillips. That was there's a whole section of black women that believed in Toni Morrison's ideas about racism, that they can't be racist. There's no way they could be. No, they can be racist. They could be quite racist at times.
I think when somebody just starts believing something like that, it should just be classified as a disorder or a syndrome, and we should just get it over with. Like, if you're that detached from reality that you start thinking that you are somehow a god and you cannot be racist in any aspect, or you cannot be hateful in any aspect, and you've somehow gotten a pardon for the rest of your life, basically, for every time you ever do it. No, fuck off. Just get the fuck out of our society. We don't even need you around. That's just going to be hell having to have people around like that.
Yeah, I know there must be a certain.
I don't care.
Yeah, there must be a certain joy in it, because you know, white males have been racist in the past, and a lot of them still are racist. Zeta is going to send.
Yeah, I'm taking care of him right now.
Okay, so probably in your private. You can send it to a private in the private. Yeah.
I'm going to send it. Private mailbox on YouTube, on his YouTube.
Yeah, we got to get a link in the G+ so we could just send you one when you want to come in.
Right on.
I've been working with MJ here with just having a private, a 2-second private conversation, so we have the link so I can send it to you too. I know you had a problem this week with it.
Well, I'm on right now, and I don't know how to use Google Plus very well. It's not very intuitive.
It's hard on a telephone too. It's almost impossible to do Google Plus the way it's supposed to. It's set up on a telephone. You don't get the sidebar, and where the sidebar is where we all talk and everything, and get those little messages. You get those messages in your message center. But
I don't know what a message center is. Like, I'm on there right now. I guess I go to communities, and that's not it. People. Oh, no.
No, it's not in the right-hand one. It's I don't know. Well, it's not on the left-hand side. It's on the right-hand side, and it just doesn't show up on the phone very well. It goes to a separate. Your phone sorts it, and it goes to your Google Plus messages, and it's just really hard to work. I know it on my phone. I turn it on, and then if I leave it on, every time someone talks, I get a ding, 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 ding.
Oh God. So I'm gonna send Traversable and throw down and Zeta a message, I guess.
Yeah, if you send it to one of the hangouts, yeah, we could just talk in one of the hangouts then that we were originally in, or this hangout I could just kind of save, and then that'll be the hangout that I can send you like private stuff. It's a pain. There should be like you could just put people in a group. And I know they have circles, but that doesn't work out either because then everybody starts joining this. And if you send it out, the link out in that circle, then the whole world gets it. Oh, we tried that with one day. Remember that, Zeta?
Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, everybody got the link. But,
yeah.
It could be quite frustrating.
I got a phone call. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were talking a little bit about reverse racism, and it happens. I can attest to it. I live in a town that's pretty much about 80%, 60 to 80% Hispanic, and I experience racism all the time. Lincoln Brown, is that Link?
Yeah, that could be him.
Okay, yeah. That was him. Okay, Link's been giving. Oh, he probably went off because he didn't want to use that avatar. Yeah, so I can attest to it. It happens. You know, I have this thing that happens all the time. I walk up to the store and I have a choice between two stores. I go to the local store with the local dealer, but he's a Hispanic male, and as much as he likes me and as much as he respects me, I don't think he respects me at all. Once in a while, I'm standing in the line, and a Hispanic person will come in, and he'll just take him first. Oh, and I'll be standing there, and it happens like so many times in my life that it became noticeable. And
does he speak fluently, like English?
Yeah, he speaks fluent English, and he'll just if it's a Hispanic person, he'll always take him before me, and it shows like it's just I kind of lower my head a little bit, and so I've stopped using that store, and that's the only result of racism anywhere, and that's with white, black, Hispanic. If you're a store owner and you start being racist to somebody, he's not going to come there, and you're going to lose that business, and it has its own punishment in itself.
Yeah.
So it's like everything in life. There's two sides to every coin, and if this be true, this be true. So I just walk up the street to the next store now, which is just like 500 feet away, and it's a Pakistani-owned store. And the guy loves me. He takes care of me. He treats me fair, and I treat him fair. And he loves my son. My family goes in there. He sees that, and we talk a lot about Mgtow-like stuff. He's very affluent to. When he came to this country just a few years ago, he started a small convenience store, and he's very affluent with how gynocentric society is, and he often complains about the children with their entitlement attitudes now being, and we see that as being raised by single baby mamas, and that entitlement kind of flows over to the gynocentric flows over to the children now, and they have huge expectations on life, but no real will to do the job.
Right.
I just made a baiting video yesterday about that. I think it was about that. It's just be a man. Just.
I don't even think that it's the. I like to look at it in a different way. I like to look at people in a basis of habits. So the problem is a lot of the boys that are growing up, they're never going to learn the necessary habits that they're going to need to be full men. And they're going to live their entire lives without those habits. Nobody's ever going to teach them that they need to work on habits. Nobody's ever going to sit them down and, tell them that they've got, programming that may not be good or this or that. They're not going to have any of it. So they basically just get raised by the pop culture and not really anything. You're not really raising a child there. You could, yeah. I don't know how to say it in a really nice way, but yeah. It's
what's going to happen to men in 30 years when this generation starts procreating? This next generation, I'm scared.
Yeah, it is kind of scary.
Oh my god.
Oh, sorry.
We're just going to be watching you sitting on our porch, being like, "Back in my day."
Know that. I think that we're already seeing that you move people into the Western world, and after 2 or 3 generations, they stop having kids, and as a side effect, the only way to keep your society up is to keep on bringing in immigrants at a nonstop influx. because they're the only ones that are going to produce kids, because the society that you're building is teaching people how to basically commit genocide one generation after another in a very, very slow fashion. It's like being poisoned.
Yeah, we talk about the family and family needs all the time, and this family setup, this culture, the society of family that we have here just destroys the family, and they don't see it. They believe in the lie. They believe
it destroys the individual too, and that's
the individual very thoroughly.
Yeah, and that's the part they turn around and they promote it as it helps the individual, or it makes them free, or this or that. But it actually takes the individual down to such a stupid, dumbed down, moronic level that what's the even point of being an individual at that point? There's nothing special to you. You're just a fucking robot.
Right. Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Yeah, actually, I was just wanted to point out. I just sent actually HD Failure a link that was done by a YouTube content producer here in Toronto called Morbidus, and he did a whole thing, almost 50 minutes on the Portuguese community in Toronto. If anybody's interested, and I'm just passing it to our Latin members, if you will.
Oh, great. Oh, great.
Yeah, I just got it in the link there. I sent to HD in the chat room if anybody's interested.
Well.
Oh, I see. Men's Knowledge 101 is in the room. I just wanted to shout out real quick to Men's Knowledge.
Yeah, I remember him. Jeez, man,
I think around the Manosphere.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I remember his videos.
My favorite producers.
Yeah. Welcome back, 101.
Yeah, did he just do a video yesterday about coming back? I watched a video recently of his, and always good stuff. Always good to have him around.
Good classic Mgtow.
Yeah, classic. Yeah, classic. It's weird because guys as short as 4 or 5 years ago are considered classic Mgtow now.
Yeah, exactly. Even 6 months ago.
We move it like dog years, basically.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So I did that baiting video this morning. It was purposeful about it. It talks about masculinity and about the perception of masculinity and about your perception. And what I was saying was, it's not acceptable that men accept females as equals or equality. There's nothing equal about us. I'm bigger, faster, stronger, smarter, more cunning. If I just decide one day to do all those things, I'm the winner. And I have to taper myself down in this society because not to be the winner to the point of obvious sometimes, because people are sensitive to that. And these boys nowadays, they're told that everybody's equal. No, everybody is not equal. There's going to be winners and there's losers, and we do live in a tournament situation here where if you're not working on yourself to be that winner, and you believe you're going to get hammered someday and you're going to lose. And around Mgtow, we talk about masculinity a lot. We talk about those subjects of masculinity here in the Health and Science. It's still pretty much the Health and Science broadcast. We talk about becoming a better man, taking testosterone, using the edges, working out, all those things. We talk about those things purposefully for the boys and for the men, so they can become better, faster, stronger, and smarter. And when I hear this equality spun by some people, that everybody's equal, I just think, God, why cower to that mentality? You are better. As a man, you are better.
Because I think it stems back to that whole racism thing, that if I say I'm better than her, like, hey, I'm stronger, I'm faster, and all this, you're like, well, then you're a selfish person, or you're a shallow person, and you're a bigot, and you're a misogynist. It's like,
yeah.
Like, no, I am better.
I am better. Yeah,
you gotta think about it, like, even in school now, especially with the last generation, they've really basically, taken away the competitive nature out of the school environment as much as possible. Right. So now you can come in millionth place and you still get an award, and you still get treated like you came in first place. So they're never taught that by pushing farther and doing better, you get better rewards. So they never actually get this concept in their head that work equals, work output equals success, or reward, or resources, or however you want to say it. It's never it's never really properly put in. They just have the idea that they just have to go out and do the minimal work and they deserve to get the full prize.
Yeah, yeah. All kids get to play is just cheating on the test. If you cheat on the test, you're just cheating yourself out of the information that you could have gained.
And that's all we're doing. We're basically cheating an entire generation out of any ability to compete.
Yeah, yeah. If you have to compete for that third baseman spot on a team, you have to grow with that. You have to become better, stronger, faster. You have to get more talent, and that's what that does to men. Men thrive on this competition thing. Men, we grow to be better men. We grow to be, like I said, stronger, better, all those things.
Yeah, we learn where we're going wrong too by going through this process against other men, is because we might have some really stupid ideas when we start out, and then we try them out and we learn them wrong, and then we watch somebody else and we see the way that they're doing them, and there's a process that actually goes on, that it's not all struggle. No. There's a lot more, sitting back and looking at what's going on and trying to work things out, and a lot of planning and a lot of methodical thought that goes on to it. It's not all just about grinding until you're sweating and dying, even though that's a part of it too.
That's the hijacked part of it. That's when we get hijacked in that mentality.
We get hijacked that's like the only part of masculinity that exists, and it's like, whoa, no, we can be more than just soldiers. Like,
it's personal masculinity too.
You take away. They're trying to take the term hard worker away from you. Now they're trying to take that pride away.
Yeah.
Make it like you're some microaggression. Be like, you don't know what hard work is until you've picked cotton. And it's like, God damn it. God damn it.
I think that was a recent video, Jesus, was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere I have to dig that one up. Yeah, hard worker. Now it's a sin.
Or men working signs. They're trying to take away the men working signs. Because the men are working, it's offensive. The people working. No, people aren't working on those high rises.
You guys are better than me. Damn it.
Embrace that. Embrace the male that you are the male. And I'll say this a million times here. The male is the strongest thing on this. The human male is the strongest thing on this planet. We are like gods on this planet. Embrace that, and be that strong male, because that's what you got. If it just come by genetic lottery, hey, you won the lottery. Embrace that.
Now do something with it.
And on the topic of discrimination, all that, there's a lot of sexism that goes on just because we ended up being born males, and males do have those attributes that come along with them. Just because of that. So it's an ingrained sexism just because we were born the way that we were, and it just so happens that they weren't born in our shoes. It's almost like every day since we're born, we're being told over and over again, the woman's going to be the boss, and we have to learn how to just accept it. And it's like, well, why?
Yeah.
For what? I thought I got born a man, and there's supposed to be some benefits that come to that. Just something, not pure slavery.
In fact, it's coincidental because I don't want to bring him up, but Sandman put a video out today about gold diggers. In that video, he explained about how they just basically get trophies for either destroying a marriage or sticking to it, being a trophy wife or getting all the benefits of destroying a marriage. And the other thing was that they're teaching their sons basically participation trophies. Like, all a woman has to do is show up, and everyone, as long as she participates, she gets everything. Guys actually have to do something, contribute something,
Yeah.
It's coincidental to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Coincides.
It coincides. Yeah. These things, the racism, the masculinity. They want to taper our masculinity down. They want us to be less aggressive. They want us to be because that gives them the opportunity.
They don't want us in charge of anything. Is one of the things I've noticed. Is
right. Yeah, because it gives them the opportunity for us to acquiesce to them.
Even if you have, say, a sister or a mother or a woman that's in your family, a family member, and that seeks advice from you, you'll find that other women will turn around and say, oh, no, don't talk to him. He's trying to control you. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Even if you may be their #1 advisor in the entire world, every woman will run to that one woman and tell her, no, 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 he's evil, he's evil, he's evil, he's evil, he's evil, over and over again.
Actually, Seth, I got a question for you. Living in Toronto and all this, and being careful around people and in public. I'm just gauging how it is over there in Ottawa. Do you find you got to watch what you say?
Well,
how you're saying it, how you're phrasing it, anything that could, because in an elevator, for example, if I was talking about the girth on a man's, on a man's belly, a beer belly, right? And there was a woman standing there, and I get this a lot here, right? And she just gave me the dirtiest frickin' look, just because I mentioned something about men. I was just kind of gauging to see if that's pretty much in Ottawa, similar scenarios where you kind of get a sense that you better watch what you say. Right?
Yeah, there is, especially if you go like downtown and you start getting around all like the university and college crowds and stuff, they start getting really like weird and a little bit more you can't even go and talk to these girls at the bar kind of thing because you get harassed by the whole group. Yeah, and when you're talking to them, when you're trying to talk to any one of these girls, if you make any sort of comment whatsoever that you're like a man for real, you're gonna end up getting called out. There's a very, very small group of women that are in this city that are willing to that are like into men, but they're usually the completely fucking insane ones, the ones that are like looking for the really, really bad guys, and they're just completely fucked in their head. They'll give you the best sex of your life, but they're fucked right in their head.
Oh yeah, they usually are. Yeah,
they're not good for anything else other than sex, like Jim Jeffries.
Yeah, cluster B's are generally good in bed, especially the borderlines.
But we've got three large universities, and a few colleges. So that ends up bringing in a huge crowd of retards, basically. Yeah. And they come to the city and live off their, crappy education that they don't end up getting a job for. The city's filled with people that have gone through these schools and they don't have any education, like our gender studies and stuff like that. It's ridiculously huge. Or other things like other programs that are just like they're overly they're pumping out way more people than are ever going to be able to fill those jobs. There's never going to be those spots. I kind of laugh because it's like, you guys got this whole scam going on, and you're so fucking sold, and you've been scammed for the last, 2-3 generations, and you're not really fucking getting it yet. Like, come on. Get it in your fucking head already. Like, you're not getting anything better out of this, and you're getting dumber and stupider. Like, it's kind of, it's ridiculous. And in the last few years, I've started to see more of a crowd come to the city that's even farther more ignorant, a lot more. They seem like feminists to me. They seem like the more like lesbian, artsy fartsy. I'm gonna have short hair and dress like a boy, kind of crowd.
There's a lot of side mullet.
yeah, exactly. A lot more of them, and you got the city kind of split in two. You've got the big student population that comes in, and then you've got like this down inner city crowd that's very ghetto and hangs out at all like the big malls and never leaves them. So if you go like down to our market, that's basically what it's filled with. Those all the ghetto kids from all around the city. It's not the best city, but it's not. The big difference when you're in Toronto or Ottawa is you notice when you go to Toronto, the streets are very dirty and it's not so clean. When you come to Ottawa, everything's very, very clean. The lawns are mowed and all that. But it's more that it's a capital city of the country, so they're having diplomats and people come in all the time. They want to make the country look good. To me, there's a much nicer veneer on the city than it actually exists. And in Ottawa, our biggest problem, I would say, is the French and the English. Because you guys down there, you don't have it.
Oh, we don't have it. But you guys are going to have that ongoing. I mean, you got Hull just right across.
Exactly. So,
and it's two totally different cultures. So you cross over to Hull. I mean,
they've passed all sorts of laws that Ontarians can't go and work there whatsoever unless you're working for the government or some special deal. And then they can come and work here in any department, anywhere that they want. And the other thing is that we now, to work in your federal government, municipal government, or provincial government anywhere in the Ottawa area, you have to speak French and English. So even though the job does not require you speak French and English, you'll have to go and do it.
You still have to be bilingual. Yeah, they're really pushing that in Ottawa. No, you don't get that here. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Joe.
We have Journey in, and I want to check his mic real quick. Yeah, Journey, how's your mic doing? Okay.
Journey?
Damn, his mic. Yeah, you might have to go back. You know the deal. He's done it a million times. It's you go back in, come back, until it works out.
Yeah, I think he had a couple of problems before with that, so let's give him some time there. And also, we've both sent Men's Knowledge 101 a link there, so waiting for him to join us any minute now. It would be really cool to hear from him.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I mean, classic Mgtow right there, gents.
Yeah, no, I can. Ottawa, it's definitely a double whammy. You get feminism hating you for being a man, and then you get all the French hating you for being English.
You can't win.
Yeah, and the French hate me also because I'm also Italian, so they blame all the Italians for moving into the area and taking all their jobs 100 years ago or 50 years ago. They don't like the Polish because they think all the Polish are Jews. Where else can I go here? It's just a drop in the bucket right now. We can do a whole hangout on that, and we'll definitely offend shitloads of people, right? Oh yeah.
And and this is for those that are listening outside of North America, that's just it. They're probably slack-jawed going, holy shit, man. I mean, I've been living in this one country for the longest time, and and now they're getting the influx of globalization. Hell, here in Canada, globalization, we breathe it here.
The French here, it's like the war never ended. So about 300 years ago, we had a war between the French and the English, and the deal was the French could stay if they didn't cause a war or they'd be part of the country. Well, once they got part of the country, they decided, no, now we want to be French. We don't want to be Canadian. So instantaneously it went back to the same argument, and they've been arguing since then about, well, no, this is our country, it's not your country, and that's why we're not going to speak English, because this is our land, and you can learn French. And they've got this very racist attitude towards all English, that all English must learn French, and if they don't, then they're less than them, and it's absolutely retarded, because they want people on the other side of Canada that are never going to speak French.
And then you learn how to speak French, like I did. And then I go over there, I start speaking French, and then they answer me back in English.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the weirdest thing. When I was doing door-to-door sales, in all the areas that I would know, I would start the conversation in French, and I would do it because if you don't know how to speak French, they refuse to speak English to you, and they treat you like shit. But if you speak French to them off the bat, they will immediately start speaking English to you, and they'll actually even tell you they're more comfortable about speaking in English. It's just to force you to speak the language.
That's Montreal for you. That's where if you ever go to Montreal and you know how to speak French, and especially if you go at it with an international French accent, that's it, man. They'll go back to speaking English.
And I like giving them a hard time too. I like saying, well, you're not real French, right? The French you speak, that's not what they speak over in France. You guys are.
Oh, that burns them, man. They get burned. Ooh, don't say that.
They're driving it into me, so I got to give it back a little bit.
Yeah. Then you make fun of a Haitian accent, and they're just, rolling over tickled pink. Oh, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, it's so screwed up. Man.
You guys thought you were going to bring all these people from all around the world. They're going to be French, and it was going to offset the English population. You were going to take off the country, and now you ended up with a whole bunch of people that don't even speak the French that you speak, and you can't stand them. So how did it work out for you?
Well, that gives you an idea, folks, what Canada's about. Sorry, Joe, back to you, man.
That really does change everything for me as far as what I thought of Canada.
That's true.
The Quebec-Ontario battle it's never going to be settled. It'll always be there. Every few years they'll say that they're going to separate from us, but they don't have the mint, they don't have the resources. There's a bunch of things that they don't have, so they can't separate from us, and it's just like this ongoing.
Well, I think it's been waning down. I mean, I remember how tense it was living in Montreal in the late '80s, and this was pre-referendum and building up towards that.
Oh yeah.
And but right after that, Bill 101 and all that shit. But things, I think, in the '90s it started to wane down a bit. There's a little bit more integration, and of course the influx of immigrants coming in. Well, obviously Toronto sponges in the most. Right, but obviously Montreal, they sponge mostly from from French-speaking ones. But it seems that the whole separation debate is kind of on the wane.
They have a clause that if you speak French, they will take you in from any country, and even like if you're a criminal, they'll try to get you around the system to try to get you into the country because they want French.
That I didn't know. That part I didn't know about the criminal part.
That's such a strange agenda to have. Like, if you lost, give up.
In Ontario, say that you've got like misdemeanor charges in another country, well, you can't turn around and immigrate here. It's still considered criminal charges. But in Quebec, if it's like misdemeanors, or even if it's a felony charge, but it wasn't an aggressive charge or this or that, a lot of the kinds of stuff that they do with jobs, right? How a job will say, oh, well, you've got a criminal record, what is it? And they want to know because they want to know how bad is it. Like, what did you get caught for? Was it did you get caught drinking and driving one time and then you never did it again, or did you get caught raping somebody? And you want to know.
I can just see the customs. C'est pas grave, tu peux entrer la police, and all this.
Oh yeah.
C'est pas grave. It's not that important. Yeah, it's okay. Go on.
And the accent's the best. You can't find it anywhere else.
Oh yeah, no. There's about 17 accents just in Montreal alone. That's what they say.
The French that they speak, it's like I call it Fringlish because it's half English, it's half French.
It's Joual. It's actually called. Well, they have a. Yeah, that's the last time I was there. Anybody from Quebec, please chime in.
That's what it is. It's French from the 1600s, and it hasn't been spoken in France since the 1600s. So all the words that have been made up in between that time in France, they don't have those part of their language. So all the new words that got made up, they just adopted the.
But it's also they found out that from this is not to get too specific, but it stemmed from Normandy and the Bretons, that were there. So there's a lot of influence from that. That's how they got their accent. Again, 16th century, right?
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Anything else you guys wanted? Jesus, you were saying something there?
Oh yes, actually, recently Mundane Matt just did a video. Who here actually knows what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Mundane Matt, yeah.
Yeah, he recently just did a video about something going on in Oregon at a ranch. Well, there's right connected to that ranch is a wildlife preserve, a federal wildlife preserve, and right now there's actually an armed militia there, and they're like stocked up and stored up, and they're actually going to stay there for a couple of years. Like they're in for the long haul. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, damn, I'm just going to go down, get me an AR-15. And they're pretty much calling all men. They're like, hey, men, come out. Yep. Just be here with us. We're just going to take this shit over. We're tired of the bullshit. And
if you guys want to know the backstory, I was actually researching it last night when one of my buddies threw me the video for it, or an article about it. But what's been going on is they had special mining rights for that area. And it's been going on for about 100 years, where they own the rights to mine the land, they own the water rights, they own all the surface rights, they own the entire rights to the land. It's not like all the other places in the United States where you own your property and you actually don't own the land. You don't own the mineral rights, you don't own the water rights, you don't own the surface rights, none of that stuff. Whereas in Oregon, in that particular area, they actually did. Now, the government has been trying to come in for years and been trying to kick these people off of their claims and take away the deal that was already made over 100 years ago. And a lot of these claims, they've been sold multiple times, so it's not the original owner anymore. It's multiple people that have bought in the claims, and they've said, well, you know what, we'll fight the government, we'll fight the government, we'll fight the government. And basically it's been sold, and they knew that it was going to be a fight and all that kind of stuff, but the government is basically just tried to take their land from them and close down their mine. And we'll take their gold mine from them. That's really what it is, and they've been doing it in lots of the areas around there. This isn't the only mine that it's happened to. So yeah, they're making a stand, and they're holding up in a federal building, and they want their property back because it's been stolen by the government. And
sort of like the Bundy Ranch, but the next progression of the Bundy Ranch, where they tried to take the same claim. The government's just doing that. They take what they want, and if this goes on, they'll take your house when you have a house, and then make you repay for your house again, and they'll do it in subtle ways, like making you remortgage, and
they'll change some code where you have to reinvest on your roof and whatever.
Right. Yeah, they do that all the time with taxes. You buy your house, and then you got property taxes where you're basically just paying them rent to live on it. This stuff it has to stop, because there has to be some real property in the United States, and the government.
They don't want us to own, and they don't want us to own anything.
Well, I'm happy somebody's done it. Somebody stood up and said something, and
right.
One thing that really bothered me was This happened last night, but the media did not start reporting on it at all until later on today, or later on this morning. And the Twitter accounts were already going at like 4 o'clock in the morning saying Oregon under attack by white armed terrorists, blah, 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 already giving them a bad name. And I found that very, very weird that the mainstream media was refusing to report on it. Twitter was blowing up already, sending basically the trend of how it was going to be reported on. And now the media is going right on with that type of reporting. And I found that very weird, because when you see all these other things, like all these other big attacks and stuff, the media is right on it in a fucking snap of an instant. They've got everything already there, and that it just felt really weird that the media was taking so long.
Like the silence was deafening, that they weren't covering it. There's a good reason they're not covering it. Because it would make the government look bad, and that's not what the executives want right now.
No, exactly, and you've got them calling like every National Guardsman, every civil militiaman to come out there and stock up and hold it out. So
I was thinking about that.
They're building a little army there. Yeah. They're not just 10 guys sitting up a house saying, "Yeah, we're going to go against the SWAT team and die." They're making a proper stand. I don't think anybody's going to go at them with 300 guys. Nobody's going to bring in the military or anything. They're going to have to talk them down, because if you gun down 300 men, it'll be the biggest. It'll blow back in their face.
Absolutely.
It'll turn into a civil war, because that's what
I was thinking as a Mgtow. I was thinking about getting armed and going there, going to Oregon and joining them on the ranch and live off the land for a couple of years until things die out, or whatever happens.
Yeah, these are good groups for Mgtow to join in and assist, even if it's just media recognition right now. We should be assisting like what we did with the Bundy Ranch.
The government fucks us left, right, and center, and anybody else is getting fucked by the government. We should be jumping on and helping them here and there, because it's the same battle. That's the way I see it.
I'm really considering it, guys. I'm considering going out, buying myself an assault rifle, and going to Oregon.
Well, I'm not going to advocate picking up a gun, because I live in Canada and we're not allowed to pick up guns. So, but do what you can within the limits of the law that helps your cause and maybe helps us change our fucking world around some way. But yeah, I like to stay away from getting too violent or radical.
Right. I just don't want to show up without a weapon. They'll be like, "What are you doing here?" Like, "Oh, I'm just here to camp for a couple of years. Just I'll put a tent right over there."
I'm pretty sure that there's going to be lots of people that are unarmed that end up showing up and protesting on the side of the militiamen. So even if you didn't want to get armed, you probably still could go all the way there and sit there and protest with the. I'm pretty sure there's going to be thousands of people that end up showing up in the next little bit, depending on how long it goes.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a long one, you're going to see patriots from all over the country end up coming out.
Yeah, I think it will. If it gets the right kind of coverage, it'll definitely pick up.
It's not about if it gets the right kind of coverage. If they don't shoot them all, and if it lasts long enough. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
It's got to just sit there for long enough so that people are like, "Hey, okay, well, somebody is standing up to the government. Maybe we should do something. They aren't getting killed. Maybe we can change this." But yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, that's the best bet, the most hopeful bet.
I mean, they got the BLR to back down, or BLM to back down at the Bundy Ranch before, and now in this situation, it's the same. It's the same, basically the same standoff. Just the stakes are a little more patriotic now.
There's only one problem: is the thing that the place that they took is right outside the BML town. Or that is right outside of town, where something like 80% of the population works for BML. So we already know that they're going to be going around that town, the mainstream media, saying, "So what do you think of these guys?" And they're giving them a bad name and this and that, and they're all BML workers. They are the people that just took away these people's land.
Yeah. So I'll watch how it develops, and if by summertime things are looking good, I'll go. As it stands right now, I mean, I could be ballsy. Go get my fatigues out of the closet. Go get a gun.
And you know what? I wouldn't be too surprised if they start shutting down the border. I think they already called a state of emergency. So it wouldn't surprise me if they start shutting down the border so that those guys can't get any more backup outside the state.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that they've already declared a state of emergency.
Yeah.
Anyways, it looks like Journey of Men's having, my apologies, guys. The mic is simply not working suddenly. I swear someone doesn't want me joining in. LOL. We don't want you, Link. Stay out. Anyways, okay.
Yeah,
Shun.
Stay away.
No, that's not. We appreciate Link when he comes in.
We're just joking, like
It's just the gremlins and the machines. That's all.
Exactly, or the gremlins in us, or we're just the coffee's not working yet for me.
Yeah, if you sometimes if you turn your computer off and then reset it, bring it back on. I've had those problems where it just didn't take the app, and we seem to have a problem getting Men's Knowledge in right tune here now too. The link's in your comment section, and I'm trying to send them a private link Gmail right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just discovered something. If you open up your Gmail and you have it linked with your Google Plus account,
yeah,
underneath like the junk mail and all that kind of stuff, like the basically the organizer on the left, it'll show like if you're in a call or if someone in your circle's in a call, and you can join.
That's where we like to send them. Yeah, that's where we like to send them because they're private and I always say if the best way to do this is for me is to have a private chat with me before these things, and we do the private chat, then we get that little box, and then we have that private link that I can send links out if it'll always go through, and it's just a little private area we use. But for Link, just keep trying. We invite you in, and there's.
Link, you might just need to reset the computer. Oh, he can't hear us, can he?
I don't know if he's listening or not.
I don't know. Anyways, I'd say just reset your computer.
Right.
Replug up the hardware. I don't know.
Yeah, I've had to do that on several occasions. Just kind of restart. I push restart, and then there's some app that was running in the background that was screwing everything up, or something needed to load, or something did. It's basically sometimes something doesn't load right, and Microsoft is. Although they won't admit it, they are great for not loading programs.
That's true. I think of Microsoft as like one of those old, beat-up Hondas that just doesn't die.
It's like becoming more and more so.
It's just like honestly, that doesn't work and that doesn't work, but I still get to 65 miles an hour in.
No.
And now Windows 10 is like their version of Acura.
Oh my God, Windows 10. Last night, thing. I was like,
I think Windows 10 is actually going to break its back. There's already a huge amount of people that have completely pulled off of Windows. And now, because of Windows 10, they've openly admitted that every single Windows 10 copy that connects to the internet sends its encryption key for its hard drive to Microsoft. So Microsoft is holding on to every single person's encryption keys for every single hard drive on Windows 10.
This is why I wished Red Hat and Linux would have caught on. It's the perfect platform for Mgtow. But again, you got to know your Unix, right?
Yeah. And Unix, honestly, it's not that much different. Like,
it's not really. I mean, the last time I dealt with Red Hat was in 1999. I didn't see anything afterwards. Mind you, I took a shift.
It probably got bought out.
I think it got bought out. I'd like to hear what's happening with Red Hat. I mean, I'd go back and just relearn Unix again. I just love the control that you have. And oh man, you want to talk open source? Get into Linux.
Yeah, I just tried to do that thing with Linux. I bought the Linux from Amazon so I could do one of my old computers, but it just didn't work. And I said I have this useless disk now where I just can't get it to open on the computer, the disk that they send me.
Yeah, we used to do dual boots, either boot in Linux or Windows. That was a neat setup sometimes.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's what I have to do. Just find some space there to put Linux in.
Mm-hmm. Partition it, yeah.
Yeah, it won't even. There's no program. I got to find a program to open the disk.
Yeah, I've been so out of that loop, man.
Yeah,
with nowhere to start.
So where were we here? We were trying to get some guys in, but it seems to
be... Yeah, they're having some problems. 101's having problems getting light.
I think I figured out a solution to my channel going down problem. I was looking up some other alternate media, like YouTube sites, like alternates to YouTube.
Yeah.
And the big thing is that if we're going to end up switching to one or starting to put our stuff on one, we just need to find one that doesn't get along with the whole Western, we're going to go fucking steal your shit and screw you over stuff, like the whole copyright and the censorship and all that kind of stuff.
God. I'm trying to think of...
There's a few countries around the world that popped into my head, and I put together a short list, and then I also thought about it, and I said, it's probably even a better idea if I can get a website up and going for under $100 a month, and if I do that, or if I have it hosted in a country that's also in the same sort of situation where they don't deal with the whole copyright laws and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then, once again, I can get around it. Well, no, there's lots of places. Even Russia turned around and told
the best Mgtow ever.
Even Russia turned around and told them to go screw themselves. So Russia's got a number of services that is basically built up as alternates for YouTube and this kind of stuff, and very much promotes it as just that. That they won't censor you, they won't block your content, they won't take down your channels, blah 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 blah. And we don't really have to worry about them getting mad about our stuff because we're not talking about them, we're talking about us. That's why our shit gets taken down on an American site.
What about the potential and the eventuality that maybe they'll kick us out of Hangouts, or even G+. The question is there an alternate,
on my last account, on my last YouTube account, they banned my YouTube account and my G+, not just the YouTube.
Yeah, you know what the best way to do this is? When you buy a phone, and we all buy phones, instead of using your old account, start a new account on that phone. And when you get a new piece of, when you're going to get a new IP address for those things, start a new account with that piece of machinery that you get, and then you have 3 or 4 backups.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
How are you doing?
Hey,
welcome.
Great tip on restarting.
Restart.
I hear you. Oh God. I have this is actually a Mac. I went all out, bought a Mac, and it never gives me any trouble. And of course, this one time.
Yeah, but you are using Windows software though. That's...
No, I would never go near Windows. On Google.
Google is
Googly.
Actually, Dr. Leonard McCoy suggesting they do sell Ubuntu OEM now, but that Ubuntu comes with spyware, like when you buy an OEM Windows box. Thanks, Doc, for pointing that out.
Yeah, that's the program.
Sorry, Link. Back to you, man.
Yeah, Link. So, what you been up to, Link?
Yeah, what you been up to, man?
I just wanted, last week I stopped in, but I wasn't able to speak because, I don't really come on very often, so some people hit me up. But, I just wanted to come in, listen, see how you guys were doing. I haven't been very active in the community recently. I kind of took a bit of a break to allow things to settle down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's always good to do.
I think that's a really good thing. That's very healthy.
Yeah. So, are you feeling better? Are you doing better in life and in general? Is stress free? And most of the time here we talk about doing those introspections we need to do, and then getting the stress out of our lives, and then we can be, it just aids with this thing a lot. How are you doing with that?
Honestly, I'm a lot different than I was. I'm definitely not angry anymore.
You don't sound it.
No,
you don't sound it. That's remarkable.
Honestly, I wasn't sure if it was you, but I thought I could recognize the voice. But I'm like, no, he doesn't sound so angry, and I wasn't gonna say anything.
Yeah, definitely don't sense that. Yeah.
No, I'm doing pretty well. There's the whole thing about me, maybe he went back to the plantation, No. I mean, I've been back. I had to look around, but I'm not working it.
Yeah. Once you're a Mgtow, you're always a Mgtow, aren't you? It's hard to, you can't.
Yeah, you would have to honestly just give up everything you know to be true. to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Go to the psychiatrist. Can I get some of those electrodes and just wipe my memory out?
I need a lobotomy because I can't worship the vagina anymore. I need some help.
It's almost at the point that it doesn't matter how much and to what extent we can stretch this or reshape it, and I'm talking about the whole Mgtow. We can take it to the umpteenth intellectual level, but the underlying fact and truth, and even if you're going to go against it, is undiscernible. You just can't get away from it. Once you know it, you can't go back.
Yep. Guys, listen. One thing, for example, I look back and I think about all the content I had on the channel, and honestly, on one hand, I was talking to Shining about it, and he told me, I shouldn't regret it because as a Mgtow, you don't owe anyone anything. But I look back and I thought, wow, I did have a lot of stuff, but on the other hand, I kind of felt like I don't entirely regret removing it simply for the fact that, there were a lot of people who they couldn't even look at the positive stuff that I put on there because of all the negative stuff. Do you understand?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, guys, if you look at the community, there's a lot of garbage in Mgtow. And, I mean, I can't. It was my part of it was I started out the channel. I really did want to help reach out to guys, but part of it was also getting stuff off my chest. So some videos, especially the early ones, were downright filled with hate. I mean, but it didn't seem like hate for me because in my mind, I honestly really believed those things. So, I really did not have a very good image of women, and I realized, if I want to really, talk to Mgtow again, I think that it was the right thing to do, even though some of you were not happy about it. You may still not be happy about it, because I think that, Mgtow kind of does need to clean its image up a little bit.
Well, then you came back at a really good time.
Yeah, we
you really did.
Up our image thing, and it's become a general topic around here. The allowable, what we allow and what we don't allow. You know that Mgtow is inclusive or exclusive. We're not all inclusive to everybody. Everybody, the blue pill mangina can't come around here and and just take a Mgtow moniker and say I'm Mgtow. That seems to be what we're getting now. Everybody says, well, anybody can be a Mgtow. Any man can be a Mgtow. No, that's just not true. There's a certain there's presuppositions to this.
I mean, like, it's funny since I've gone back to the gone back into society, because I had really pulled away. I definitely talk to a lot more women these days. And that's not something that ever went against the Mgtow philosophy. No one says that you have to be a Mgtow monk, but it's interesting. It's interesting going back out there and like just starting to develop relationships again and looking at how screwed up some of these girls really are how they lack.
That's the point. Exactly, Link.
They lack the very basic interpersonal skills. I had a feminist try to punish, she was like, I wanted to fuck her, and I just started telling her, she was like, and intersexual feminism, and I'm like, yeah, sure, that's awesome, because I had come to the conclusion that, I'm just going to say whatever I have to say to lay this girl, and then she starts talking about the abortions, and how it's their fucking right to kill babies, because the baby, if it's full term, is not really alive until it's born. And this is where I had to. That's when I realized that that's when I said, yeah, this is me trying to have sex with the devil. And here's the funny thing, I just stop and I say to this girl, listen, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care about your feminism. I just wanted to fuck you. I just wanted to see your boobs. And, you really need to you need to change your ways, because, I don't think you're a bad person. I think you'd have an awesome personality if you would somehow find a way to get rid of this cancer. And she's like, you're generalizing, blah, blah, blah. She makes it very clear that she's not going to let go of feminism, and that based on what I'm telling her now, she's not going to show me her boobs. And I said to her, do you understand? Here's my response to her. My response to her is, do you understand that if I wanted to see your boobs, I would never have told you the truth just now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's hilarious. Like, well, now you're definitely not getting anything. It's like, it's like if I wanted you, I would have kept doing. I would have lied to you. Like, are you that retarded?
No, but like I will tell you, like, you know, that experience, it kind of showed me the kind of man that you have to, be to really get in bed with these women. I mean, like, you really have to sell your soul. Like, the kind of guys.
You have to be a word ninja.
You do. Most importantly, you have to hide any and all sort of stance, a passion for anything. You have to be a completely blank slate for them to project themselves onto.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's more than that. You have to be a fucking traitor. Yeah. I mean, you have to be willing to kill another man, you know, in the name of their name, just so that you could fuck their dirty, and they are so. This fucking girl was telling this fucking girl. No, I'm not. I mean, it got me angry, but you know. I don't mean it like that. Like I said, I'm much more positive about women these days, but it just gets me upset. Like, do you really think, like, you know, how badly do you have to, you know, want something, you know, want sex to know that you would, you know, hurt other people just for it, you know? Like,
yeah.
You know, and the way I look at it now, I used to like despise women. Now I look at it as there's a lot of pieces of shit out there as men, you know, and a lot of the shit that's happened in society, a lot of this cultural garbage. It's not all the fault of women. It's definitely not. There are a lot of men who are pushing this forward. It's the honest to goodness truth, because they don't want masculinity. They don't want to have to take responsibilities. They basically want to hide behind the safety of the government and ride off the coattail of feminism, and they will be as pathetic as possible just to benefit from the scraps that feminism hands to them, while all the other men suffer as a result of it.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that what you're saying is not true. However, I would say that when you're raised in a single-family household, you don't know. I can imagine these guys. That's been their survival. That's the way they've had to survive this whole time. I mean, I don't want to make them like absolved of any responsibility, but you know, you just said yourself. As soon as you came true to her, you weren't going to get anything. You know what I mean? So it's.
How do we approach those men that have been raised in single-family households, single mothers?
It's an entire.
We're shaming them, right?
Ecosystem they've never been exposed to.
Yeah.
Well, no, but you got to understand something about these guys. They don't view you as a friend. They don't view you as a brother. They don't view you. They view you as a challenge. You have to understand that part of it is, yes, that's how they've been raised.
Where are they getting that from?
But listen, but I mean, come on, dude. There has to be something in you has to tell you this is not right, you know. And it's like you're not listening, but you're not listening to that voice. I mean, no matter how badly your parents raised you, you have to be able to say something is still not right. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, something is still not right with it, and they know it. And
no, they justify it. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
They justify it and they weigh it up. There's two sides that they weigh it up. What benefit can I get from one, and what benefit? And they don't see the benefit of being Mgtow because they don't live it. They could just ask us. There's multiple benefits to this thing, and it far outweighs being.
We're just barely scratching the surface on that one, Joe.
It far outweighs any benefit that they can get from, but they see the immediate benefit that what do you call that? That buyer impulse that they get, and they get this risk reward thing. They get that reward thing, and they say, "Oh well, there's an immediate." They get a small
instant gratification.
Instant gratification.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's like they're like little crackheads, and they're busting them off that little chip and saying, "Hey, take this. No harm's going to come to you." And then they do it, and that's why we always give the drug analogy. You know, they're addicted, and then they go, "Oh yeah, I want some more. I want some more. I want some more." Then they're hooked, and they get that instant gratification over and over and over again, instead of seeing. You know, just come off of it. You know, just relieve yourself. Go red pill, and then you can start living a Mgtow life where you're going to get total gratification.
I can tell you guys one thing. Like, since I've been back out in the world, and you know, I haven't been in Mgtow. One thing I can say is that, like, Mgtow is spreading hard, and when I say it's spreading, I mean it's spreading really, real seriously. For example, you know, I was talking to this one guy, and you know, he was telling me about his girlfriend, and you know, he wants to get married, and I immediately said, "Hey, have you ever heard of this thing called Mgtow?" And he goes, I've heard of Mgtow. And I was just absolutely stunned. And it's like everywhere I go, I'm seeing Mgtow popping up more and more. And any women who hear of Mgtow, they go ballistic. They go ballistic. Absolutely ballistic. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So I mean, they hate Mgtow more than they hate MRA. They laugh at MRA, but suddenly Mgtow isn't funny anymore.
Oh. We can expect we're probably going to need the equivalent of a Tom Likas to handle these broads when they when they start coming in with their hate mail and stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
So this is an opportunity for anybody out there, any Mgtow who wants to handle these bitches on.
Yeah, that's interesting. How I made a video about this where I said MRA has become a joke and Mgtow is the real.
That's right.
And they don't see it as a joke. These women sit back and they laugh at the MRAs. They laugh at them. It was that story that the guy told on one hangout about the girl trying to get the vacation, the free vacation.
Yeah.
She was sitting on a couch at a party and she says, "Oh, I haven't been on a vacation in a long time." And all the other girls snickered because they knew what they were doing. That's what I equate the MRA to. The girls know what they're doing. And the MRAs are sitting back and going, "No, they don't. They don't realize it. We're just going to explain it to them." No, they know what they're doing, and it's a joke to the girls.
Yeah.
The MRA is the joke.
Let me tell you guys something. I don't know if you heard about this, but maybe a week ago or earlier in the week, the founder of like the feminist movement in Brazil. Did you hear about that one?
I heard vaguely, but go on, man.
Go on.
Founder of the feminist movement in Brazil, Miss Big Bad, Miss Go and Get Your Abortion, because she's already had one. She stood outside the Catholic Church with her boobs out. She was part of Femin, all of that bullshit. Now 2 years later, she had a baby, and she makes a statement that she's repented. She's left feminism. Feminism is all about men staying away from women and women having sex with lesbians. She talked about how she was she talked about what it is, truly is, and she was in that inner circle, and now she is begging the Christians to forgive her, disavowing.
How convenient.
Listen to me.
Yes.
I'm out here, and I am honestly, I look at Mgtow now, and now that I don't have the hatred that I once did towards women, I'm scared for them a little bit. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because feminism was about revenge for absolutely no reason. Mgtow is a rational movement. In other words, it's the next step forward. And that's what's really scary about Mgtow. Because with feminism, once it stops working for them, which it is no longer working for them, they start jumping ship. The thing about Mgtow is, there's like you said, the men aren't going back. Do you know how much pussy I am getting right now? Since I've gone out there and since I don't give a fuck anymore? You've got to be fucking kidding me. Okay? These girls are desperate for attention.
Yeah,
desperate.
As risky as that sounds, I mean, you should have been in here. You guys know I was just tailing that 21-year-old during Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was just thinking that actually. Jesus.
No, but it's beautiful that you brought that up, Angry. Or I can't call you Angry anymore. What should I call you? Journey?
There you go.
Okay, so it's funny that you brought that up, Journey, because you're right. The Mgtow is starting to become known, because I think what really separates us from the MRA is that we're not looking for their validation. We're not looking for female validation, and that scares them, because that's what they've always done to manipulate and change the narrative. They don't have that now with us, and so what's happening is, I got a BJ from a feminist a month ago. I pissed her off, then she blew me in the car. I can't even I couldn't believe it, because we had this whole conversation at our date. She said how she was an intersexual feminist. She had that blondish streak in her brunette hair, and she looked kind of like a skunk. And I just thought she was just retarded to look at, but the thing was, she says, I'm an intersectional feminist, blah blah blah, and I was like, I'm a Mgtow. Would you like to have this conversation? You know, and I had to educate her on what Mgtow was, and by the end of it, she was so impressed that I was like strong enough not to give in to wanting her validation that she would do just about anything to get me to approve of her, to the point where she took me out in the parking lot and did what she did because she's so empowered, right? I was like, how empowered are you when I've got my cock against your tonsils? How empowered are you?
That fucking the broad that I was telling you about that fucking broke up with me a week before Christmas, fucking a few days after Christmas, she was trying to make it all up and better and want to make everything right again, and it was like, no.
Oh, I told you guys that the girl went to Virginia, right? That girl drove off, she went to Virginia to start over or whatever? She came back.
I think you mentioned that, yeah.
She showed up on New Year's Eve. She showed up at my house on New Year's Eve.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Fucking retard.
Like I said, it's gonna get really bad. Right now, the pendulum has been far on their side, and I'm serious when I say I'm scared. I'm really worried for women because look at what's happening. This dumbass Obama now, he's opened up all positions to women in the military. Keep in mind, back in the 1980s, they ruled that it was constitutional, legal for women not to have to sign up for the draft because they were excluded from certain positions. They were excluded from certain positions in the military. That restriction is no longer there. And if Congress debates this, there should be no reason whatsoever that prevents women from having to sign up for the draft. I'm going to tell you something that happened yesterday. Talking to this fucking hot chick. She looks a little feminist herself, but she's all right. So we start talking, and she says, we start talking about feminism. I'm like, well, here's the thing. The way things are going, you're gonna have to sign up for the draft soon. And she goes, no, I'm hightailing. She says, if that happens and a war breaks out, I'm hightailing it to Canada. And I say, wait a minute, what about all this crap about feminism and equality that's been stuffed down our throat for years? She goes, yeah, I don't care. And then she does something like, I'm proud to be a coward, and I don't want my makeup to smudge. And I swear.
No, she did not.
I swear, and she is dead serious. This is where I'm going with it. Women are going to literally shit on themselves because
I've had women turn around and say that when I'm like, what's going to happen when the draft comes around? They're like, that's never going to happen. Okay, we already got past that. And it's like, wait till time comes around for you, bitch.
Oh my God.
And that person in the same argument will say something like history repeats itself, and then you go, you just okay. Act like it'll never happen, but it will.
I'm looking out there and I'm just seeing I'm literally seeing men replacing women. It's happening. Men are literally replacing women, and it's gradually happening. And I'm like, oh shit, how dumb are you bitches?
Well,
really?
one thing. Who was it that just put it up? Who was that? Damn it! It was one of the other Mgtow guys. He put up a video about how we should. Oh no, it was
Turf-flinging monkey.
Turf-flinging monkey. Yes.
Just did one last night about it.
Yes, and we should all be. What was it? Transgender lesbians.
Yeah.
And there's nothing they can do. We are impervious. Yes, use it against them. I mean, unless they're actually going to take me in the bathroom and lift my my pants or pull my pants down to see.
But that doesn't matter because you identify and you have the right to identify as anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to be a fire truck, I can be a fire truck.
And you'd be a great fire truck.
I would be a good fire truck.
And you'll land a spot on MSN or something like that.
Yeah, you could be a 6-year-old girl again if you want.
Yeah, be a 6-year-old girl. Yeah. Hey. That definitely was a year in stupid 2015, man.
Oh fuck. God.
Yeah, stupidity.
Finished off the year really well. It's like the climax of retardation. Just absolute.
That all started with that Dolezal girl. She identified as the black lady, and she was like totally white. And then there was the other guy that was identified as black, and he was white. And then everybody's like, "Oh, we can be anything we want."
Basically. They're just going down a path of just complete. It's just hypocritical. It's self-destructive, and I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, that's what Mgtow is, really. We're the mirror back in their face. If they're that pissed off, take a look at that. There's a good reason why they're pissed off, okay? And, you know, I mean, this is a good opportunity to study reactions, how they're going to react and all that. But the thing is, we're sticking to our guns, we're growing, and we're expanding and evolving, and what are we to them? Really, we're a mirror right back into their face.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is that just a social SJW warrior bull coming to an end, a closure here sometime? I'm not really sure if I know what a social justice warrior is, but these people are pushing the boundaries into really stupid areas.
I don't know. Even communist Russia got tired of it eventually. So.
Link, we can't hear you again.
No, we can't hear you, bud.
Oh,
he'll rejoin us in a second.
Yeah. I had a problem when I first went over to the new, because there is a new Google system right now too that I have.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. Remember that day I got knocked off? I lost.
Yeah, I remember that. I wonder if it has anything to do with their introducing their new concept page and all that shit. Yeah.
Page,
it's just.
What I did is I re-downloaded Chrome, because the new Chrome had the whatever it needed to identify my microphone at that point. I think Link's been off so long that he didn't get that gentle download, everyday download from Google.
Yeah, just the updates, I guess.
Yeah,
for Chrome, I think.
Yeah, so I re-downloaded Chrome. Yeah, so what, you know, this social justice warrior thing has gone way too far, and Men's Knowledge says he can't be. Sorry, brothers, I can't get connected in, but you guys are doing great. Sorry, he may need the.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Knowledge may need to download the app. Yeah, go to how do you do that now? Just go to Hangout app. Oh yeah, go to on your G+ page. Go to Hangouts. Download the Hangout app.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got guys in the chat room, Joe, that are knowledgeable and all that. 101. You know, if anybody can help 101 out with that, by all means, we'd love to have you know, join us.
Chat room. Are we live now?
Yeah, we are live. Oh yes, we have. We have
nice little yellow bug.
An hour and a half.
Oh shit! I didn't even tell them about the thing. Oh, I finished the second draft. I'm gonna make some. I do need you guys to send me an email with some things that you think, you know, women have wronged men, and obviously I know a lot of them, but
okay.
I want some things that everyone can look at and go, wow, that's basically like unconstitutional, like tribunals in schools that are like supersede the governmental like fair use of law, and like how men are being, you know.
There's literally so much going on right now. Everything you look at, you can blame on the fucking government in one way or another.
Well, no. I know I said the word government, but I mean like these tribunals.
The Constitution,
basically just like superseding the government and the Constitution to fuck men over, and that's the kind of stuff I want in the Declaration. Everyone can go, wow, that's a damn good reason not to play game. You know,
the two big ones.
I can see why. Yeah, that's what I need from you guys. So just send me an email or something. Just send me a couple that you really like to see in there.
Yes.
Yeah, we got Journey back.
You know, the slavery thing with child support and the debtor's prison thing are both written into the Constitution. You don't get a slave in this environment, but you know, child support gives them the slavery, and then everybody turns their eye, a blind eye, in the states and say, no, that's not slavery. And if you ever look through it, they have to make laws to disregard the constitutional law. And then with debtor's prison, they do the same thing. If you have a debt to Health and Human Services, you shouldn't go to jail for that. That's just constitutional law. But the states make singular laws to say this doesn't apply in child support situations, and then they make it a felony and then put you in. No, it does apply. It's the perfect application to it. That's why
exactly what it's for. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's for. So the state doesn't go over bounds. You go out of bounds.
Yeah, create a system.
Yeah.
You know, something I want to say. You guys can hear me again, right?
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Okay. You know, something I want to say, and it sounds like you guys changed. It sounds like you guys changed the topic a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're moving along.
Okay. Well, just to maybe going off a little, I just do want to say this. I want to say this one thing, that observation that I wanted to point out before I got cut off about women, and I realized that women have a type of foolishness that they carry with them. I think like guys who've been with them know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They can have a PhD, but it's a type of foolishness where they they just don't. They're not able to coherently rationalize in the same way a guy will.
That's because no one raised them into adults. Their dads couldn't do their job.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
That's a big part of it. But that's a very big part of it. But at the end of the day, no matter how a woman who has a good father can grow up to understand logic and to even use logic, but she'll never be equivalent to a man whose very nature is bound by that. And what I'm getting at is this, that, you know, a lot of women it's like they...
I'll put it to you like, how about this? I've had some bosses in the past that most of my bosses were women, and most of them were terrible. I have had one or two female bosses that did a good job, and guess what? I respected the fact that they did a good job. Has nothing to do with gender for me, and I'll never say that a woman is completely incapable of, you know, basically meeting the standards that I put forth on myself, and that's how I see it. If I can if they can meet the standards that I put on myself, then I give them the same respect. But you know, I never absolve them of any wrongdoing or excuse their ignorance.
I think a lot of this, I've talked about this before, it ends up going back to the fathers, you know. I'm raising my daughters with trying the best I can with the attitude that their job is not to compete against men, and they're never going to be able to compete against men. The job is to complement men and to be the other side of the process. The entire indoctrination process that we've been giving women for the last 30 years is to basically try to be a man, and then they can't be a man, and then they're upset their whole lives that they can't ever be a man. So it's a really easy, simple thing to solve. You just tell them to stop fucking trying to be a man and tell them to be what they're actually being, or what they are, and try to grow them in that direction. But that's only one side of the thing. I can turn around and do the best that I can as a father, but my daughters are going to have a million other places that they turn around and get information from, and they get their advice from. And unfortunately, I am one voice out of the many. And they are going to hear those many, many other voices, and they're going to end up making probably just as many mistakes as any of the other women out there. Maybe the only thing that they'll have with them is maybe they'll hit around 21, and they'll still have their daddy around saying, you know, you don't have to be a dumb fuck slut, and brutally honest about it. But unless you change the whole society instantaneous, you're not going to fix the problem. And even if we were to change all the laws today, I've said this before, it would take 2 to 3 generations before society
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Before we started to learn as a society how to be couples and wives and husbands and mothers and fathers and all that kind of stuff again. Because the way that it's been for the last 30, 40 years is they've done everything they can to make it as easy as possible for the family to be split apart and for people to break apart. And they've really, we know this, they've given the people that are most likely to do the damage, to abuse the power, they've given them all the power, and they've left none in the hands of the other side. So we got a lot to change, and then once we do start changing it, it ain't going to be an instantaneous thing. It'll be a good 60 years probably before it really gets turned around and we can say, job's done.
Well, here's the real problem, dude. That's what scares me. First off, I agree with you about having a father, but dude, there's this whole thing about being couples again. It's projected by 2025, people will be having sex with robots on a regular basis. It will be a normal part, and by 2075 or 2050, they've actually projected. Yeah, this is true. They've actually projected, dude, that something like maybe.
I think he tried.
Did we lose? It looks like sounds like we lost him there.
He probably just has a loose wire or something.
Yeah, it could be.
Or he's like hitting some volume thing, like with the side of his leg. Like mine will mute itself sometimes if I'm not careful where it's hanging.
And I think I get his point that he's going at. It's the point that everybody's going to switch over to the robots, and we had this conversation a little while ago that yes, a lot of people will, but there'll be a huge resistance to it. They're just like
that's just it. Exactly, Seth. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things. That's one of the things that the women may be pissed off at that Link was saying earlier, or Journey, sorry. Is that they're and I caught some of the some women about a year ago, and they what guys are going to be fucking robots? This is fucked up. They were freaking out over that.
Yeah, it takes their power away from them.
It takes the power away from them, exactly.
And somebody like me who I guess breeding is important to me at the end of the day. When all you guys run off to the robots, I've already said this. I'll be sitting here with a nice lengthy long Jew contract and. Yeah, I'll be still pumping out kids out of women. Just I'll have a lot more supply to them, and they'll be looking for men.
See, I already
or they'll
have
be
a
doing the
child.
same thing.
I'm good. I have a child. I'm done.
For me, it's about the quality of child. I'm not convinced that artificial means or of reproduction are going to be perfect off the bat, nor are they going to be perfect for probably the first 100 years or so. It's not something that I'm going to personally get into because I'm not going to trust the technology. I'm going to have doubts about, well, who actually owns the rights to the child? Who owns the rights to this? Can the company then turn around, come back later on the day and say, oh, I'm neglecting this child or I'm abusing this child, and now they're going to take the kid away from me and shit like that. And I want all that stuff to be worked out and figured out before I go and jump my my ass into it, because I see, we've kind of seen this played out in movies over time. They've given us this warning over and over and over again that don't get too highly involved with technology because you may end up losing your ability to be humans eventually. And it's not unrealistic. It is a fact that if we start using machines and we keep on producing kids that really wouldn't have been produced in the first place because that sperm and embryo wouldn't have actually been strong enough to survive in a natural womb, well, we're going to start pumping out these kids in larger and larger fashions. And we're already in a race that has less than 1% genetic variation. And that just doesn't sound like a great idea for me. It kind of sounds like, well, let's take inbreeding right to the max. Because it doesn't matter if you're marrying somebody from your own family. If you're picking specific genes over and over again, you will inbreed an entire population to those genes over time.
What I think might actually happen to make sure that doesn't happen is they might even try to start like blending it. They'll be saying, okay, sir, you're due to the quota, we need to have you with a black egg. You know what I mean? So you're going to end up with like blacks and whites and all mixing up. Then you have the Indians mixed in. It's just going to be one thing after another. And I think that would be most likely where it's going to go. Is they're going to try to just blend everyone together.
Well,
then again, or they might make us super whites or super blacks because they want to keep us divided. I mean,
it would stop our variation problem, but yeah, it's not a great idea.
Yeah.
That's one thing that it's like not talked about at all, and it blows my mind because we're the most highly inbred species on the planet, aside from any other animal that we have inbred or that we have run to extinction. So there is only 12 left of them, and that's why there is no genetic variation, because there's no population left. For a species as well populated as the human population, we should have a very large variation of genes between different populations, especially isolated ones, and we don't. We have the exact opposite. We've got between 3 and 7% is the above average, and there's less than 2% of the world's population that's between 13 and 17%. And those are the ones that were really, literally, if those people were to die today, all those people with a 13 to 17%, our species probably wouldn't do so well in the next few hundred years. There wouldn't be any genetic variation really to go around. And we're kind of praying and hoping that somehow that extra variation that's stuck in a very few bloodlines somehow gets spread amongst everybody. That's just not realistic, especially not with the way that we...
Well, if they do artificial insemination, they might actually basically buy that from people. Say, look, you've got a genetic composition that's necessary, and we're going to pay you to basically, fodder children.
I absolutely agree. I'm just worried about, just like they do with the sperm now, the fucking women start trying to come after sperm donors and any man that they can to get money from them. And why won't companies turn around and try to do the same thing? Their job is to make a profit, right?
Right.
Things like wombs and stuff, it's just certain things, if they become a monopoly, I see that they're going to be abused way too fast, and there's going to be no point in ever getting into them, a lot like GMO crops. There's no point of us even ever trying GMO crops because it's all run by one company that's running into the ground and cares nothing for nobody's health or safety. They just care for their profit. So while they murder millions of people, they don't really give a shit, and they pay off the fines and they go about their business. If we're going to turn around and make artificial wombs, why wouldn't something like that be just as big of a business as food?
Just making money.
And how quickly is it going to turn sour, just like all of every fucking monopoly that we have? They don't pop out.
The thing is, they wouldn't even know the damage was done until...
It would be too late.
Exactly.
So I don't want to seem like a defeatist in that aspect. I'm just more of a... if I'm going to get into it, I want to make sure that I've got all my dots, all my I's dotted and my T's crossed. I don't want to turn around and you know, destroy my ability to reproduce, especially after my family's gone through so much for so many thousands of years. Fuck, I kind of owe them a little bit to at least have one or two like normal ones that'll keep it up.
Yeah, right. There's other ways to reproduce too, and I think a lot of MGTOWs have to accept that there's other ways to reproduce. You can get a surrogacy. There's other scientific ways coming out, and we can adopt. Well, adoption is not like that.
You could even turn around and marry a woman in a country that didn't have fucking laws that fucked you left, right, and center, and you could turn around and leave her there, have the kid there. I know that there's lots of businessmen that I've worked with that had, you know, wives and mistresses all around the world, and that's what they did. They, you know, everybody thinks that they've got one kid or two kids, and they've really got like 7 kids, but they've got all these mistresses around the world that they pay as like part-time wives.
Building your wealth is key to everything. Once you build your wealth and you have maybe $30,000 to $60,000 to spend on that child to get a child, that's going to be much cheaper than the $100,000 a year you're going to spend to maintain a child.
And maintain a wife.
And maintain a wife, yeah. You can get surrogacy now, and it's not easy, but man, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of girls that would just sell out to that for the cash too. Yeah. And women are greedy. Women are very
Well, I'll tell you
greedy.
what, when America collapses like it's about to, when our economy becomes so strained that these women are going to become desperate for resource. Any guy with an apartment, a decent car, and a job, he's going to get the California dimes that, you know what I mean? He's going to get all the babes. Look at Russia. Look at
it's
Russia.
Already like that, guys around the world. All right, my first baby mother, my oldest daughter's mother. After me and her had been broken up for maybe about 2 years, we started becoming good friends again. And then I've always been good friends with her family, even after we broke up. Her mom and her dad are like old school Cambodian, lived in a refugee camp for most of their life in Thailand, and then migrated to Canada. Very, very, very nice people. And the way that they have their thing, or the way that their system over there is not like the way we have our world here. So basically, I go over for dinner one day, and they asked me if I'd like to marry one of their cousins, anyone that I'd want, to bring them over to Canada. I've got to marry them for 4 years. I can have sex with them well for 4 years. I can have a kid with them for 4 years. Whatever I want to turn around and do, and after the 4 years, we can get divorced, and I never have to speak to them again.
So it's kind of like you're leasing them, and you could choose to buy at the end of 4 years.
It's kind of like, no, they want a citizenship. That's what it is, okay? They want citizenship, and they're like, well, do you want a pussy for 4 years and you give her citizenship? That's the deal at the end of the day.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You stop.
That's
thinking
the real world.
I know, but like, I can't make myself get hard if the sex is on that condition. I can't do it. Like,
yeah. What I would say is, don't think about the pussy, think about the woman, or think about the child. Make all preparations for the child to be yours, not the preparation for the pussy to be yours. That's where men get trapped and lose the battle. They're thinking about the pussy while they should be thinking about making, from day one, contractually, making that child theirs.
Yep.
And then building up evidence in court, because you can sit with a camera on any given day of the week. If you have a wife and she starts yelling, record it, put it away. Record it, put it away. If she smokes a joint, record it, put it away. For the day where you know.
What do you think that I do? I literally, this is what I do. Like I said that at a certain point I couldn't get into relationships anymore without feeling like I was going to get hurt. So I kind of took a lesson from my Jewish history, and I learned that they were a very, very small population, so they learned to do business with dirty people and do business with people that they could that they could always get back at, and that they made sure that they collected all the dirt on the people that they did business with, so that when the person ever did turn around and try to betray them or backstab them down the road, they always had the information ready to go. But it wasn't like they set up the whole road to screw that person up. It was more like, no, when this person eventually tries to screw me over, I already have my cards ready to play.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Have your cards ready to play. That's what we have to teach in Mgtow too. If you're going to play this game and you want, and I know a lot of guys want children, and I love children myself. If I would have known what I know now in Mgtow, all 3 of those children would have been mine permanently, because I didn't know the game. I had no idea about the game and how to play the game, and they get taught the game from courses in HHS. I had to learn the game over about 10-year period, and once I knew it, it was too late. But if I could have employed these simple tricks, or call them tricks, you're using the resources available to you. I would have had the children. The children would have been. My son tells me every single day almost that he would have been better off if I would have got him, and he would have had a life with me.
It's just a tool. That's all it is, right?
Yes,
it's a tool for a trade. If you use it for the wrong job, it can be used incorrectly, and it's done wrong, and it should be demonized, all that kind of stuff. But if you use the right tools for the right things, you get the right result, and no foul.
Yeah, and these are the things that MRA could be teaching too. They say they're so into this, but do they teach men how to deal with the system? Do they teach and not be unapologetic
They actually teach them how to be part of the system, how to get along with the system.
They teach them how to be part of the system. They never teach them to, do the recordings, make the documentation, always be one step ahead and always be on the winning end. And
when I went to court, bud, that's why I got off all my charges. Was I turned around and I put 2 apps on my phone, one that records every single phone call that comes in, and another one that backs up every single one of my text messages to my email. And now in that way, when I went to court after the bitch had charged me, I turned around and I had all this shit that, she's fucking a psychopath. She's calling me at all hours of the night, screaming and yelling at me and this and that. Even after she charged me, she was still trying to call me and get me charged with breach and all sorts of shit. So yeah, and it takes 2 seconds to put a fucking app on your phone, and then it's done.
It takes 2 seconds, yeah.
The phone.
There are ways to do this.
The phone call one I even bought because it was like $1.99 for the pro version of the program. So I was like, okay, you know what? I don't even think that I get anything more out of the pro version, but I just really like this app that I don't have to worry, and I always have my phone calls saved now for the rest of my life.
$1.99 comparatively to a lifetime of slavery and $100,000 a year. I take that $1.99 any day.
Yeah. So, and then there's that. Then it's not like they ever tell. You ever hear an MRA try to tell people how to get around paying your taxes to a government that you don't agree with? Still be legitimate, but learn how to get them done so that you don't have to dish out a whole bunch of money. No, you won't even hear something like that. It's really work with the system.
Yeah, they don't want to make waves. That's the thing. I don't understand what the MRA want, because they don't want to make waves, but they want change.
Yeah, we just heard that video.
That sounds like Barack Obama's campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just heard this video with Dean Esme about how it's better to have a marriage contract because at least it's a contract. That is such bullshit, and that's the message they're putting out there.
Dude, when a judge takes your contract and says this is not admissible in court, throws it away, you just your jaw hits the floor, and you're. We all
know that. All us ex-married guys, they took that contract, they threw it away, they stomped at it, and they told you, the judge told you to shut up and don't talk.
So really, though. The MRA, they're selling false hope, is what they're doing. They're doing just what feminism did. They're telling men that no, if you follow us, we're going to do this, this, and this, just like the easy way of the system. You think it works on the outside, and it'll all work. Don't worry. And when you get to the end road, it's the same fucking thing that happens with everything else. You find out that it's shit, I never had a deal. I'm screwed.
It's a bridge to nowhere.
I almost want to think that MRA was made by feminists just to have an enemy to validate themselves. See, they are still misogynists. I swear that they created them. They were like, okay, so you guys should go out there, do a bunch of nothing, say a bunch of nothing, suck up men's money and waste it on nothing, and then we will use you as our misogynist targets to validate our agendas. They're like, okay, honey, will I get a BJ on my birthday? You bet. Yeah, whatever. That's basically.
But that's what they're selling out to. They're selling out to that pussy begging, and they all become pussy beggars by default. That's the biggest argument between Mgtow and the MRA. We're looking for better ways. They're looking for ways back, but we got to articulate these how they are looking for ways back to that. The same trap, the bridge to nowhere.
I will never go back to anything considered traditionalism in any sort of aspect unless it's something sort of similar to Islam, because otherwise I am at way too much of a disadvantage to even want to be alive.
Okay. Sorry, the word Islam, and I was like, hashtag triggered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I probably just triggered a whole bunch of people, but we do have to give those guys credit. It seems like they have a lot more control over their women than we have over
We
ours.
do have to give that Sharia law credit.
Do they have to be that ugly about it? Apparently so.
Well, you know what? You can turn around and take it from some Shia clerics that really give it to you in a nice way. They're not telling you to go behead people and this and that, but those aren't the ones you hear in the mainstream media. And if you try to tell anybody that there's Muslims that aren't like the House of Saud and the Wahhabis and the Salafi jihadists, oh fuck no, that can't happen. There's 1.6 billion Muslims that are all 100% radical out of Saudi Arabia, but they're everywhere, and we can't say that they're from Saudi Arabia. It's completely retarded.
Nice beard, Mgtow. Jesus.
1,500 children were like killed or kidnapped or whatever over there because of political correctness. I mean, that's the sacrifice that's been made for political correctness. I'm done with that shit.
Right.
I'll say what needs to be said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they get this whole political correctness, but it has such bad results over there, and it harms. It's the same as here. How feminism harms the children, and nobody wants to look at it. They're getting their children. I do have
to give props though to the Muslim world, because a good portion of it basically smashes feminism in the face every time it tries to come around their world.
Yeah, they know that. They know the results of it. It's easy to know the results of it when you've been looking at the Western world and you go, oh, wait a second, I don't want to be that.
Yeah, well, the Islamic world did it, Russia did it, China seems like they're starting to do it. They've kind of learned from the Western countries that don't follow what they're trying to do, because they say it's paradise, but when you look at their lives and you ask their people, they're like, no, my kids, I can't see them. No, I'm in slavery. No, I can't open businesses. No, I can't compete in the market because there's monopolies. No. There's no freedom. There's no liberty in the actual system. It's a whole fucking facade. Everything that we're supposed to have isn't there. Our Constitution isn't there. Our rights aren't there. The division of the decentralized power structure isn't there. Nothing is there. We've basically taken everything from communism but left our old name and said we're still the same people. Because we have the central banking system, so we have a centrally planned economy. We have everything basically taken out of the state's power, and it's all put over the Congress power. That's basically the way it is. We have huge, massive super monopolies that, if they are going to go bankrupt, the government jumps in and doesn't let them go bankrupt, so it gives them corporate welfare. So at the end of the day, they're nationalized. They're not capitalist companies. They're state-owned. They're state-funded, and without the state, they wouldn't be able to exist, because they work on a monopoly in which they don't let anybody else compete in the market. And this is what happens to every single one of our markets. If you look at them, the second they open up, the first thing big business does is to close them down to everybody but the richest of the rich. So you start needing to have hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawyer fees, or hundreds of thousands of dollars in licensing fees, this and that, just so you can get into the industry. And by doing that, they monopolize each one of the industries so that nobody from the regular world can get in there with a decent product. Why? Well, because first you need $300, $400, $500, $600,000, maybe $1 million before you can even get into the game. So it's no different than a communist industry when you really look at it, because everything is sucked away from the people. The people have no control over everything, and they're really just workers that walk around like robots, and they don't have any power over anything. Maybe they might have some power here, or they think they have some power here or there, but it's really just to get a big movement going so that the government can pass another law. Every time that something comes out, it's like, well, people that are best friends with the top of the government, they're the ones that fund the problem. Then the government provides the solution for the problem. There is no real solution. It causes more problems, in which the private industry jumps back in and says, no, see, you need the free markets and we'll solve the problem for you. And then they don't, and then government jumps back in and says, no, we'll solve it with a whole bunch of regulation. And it's this nonstop, ever-ending game where everything that is valuable to a society is leaving it and going farther and farther away. It's
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I just don't want the planet anymore.
Well, I don't buy any of it, and that's the thing, is like, it doesn't matter if we're talking about like the occupation of Palestine, or we're talking about Syria, or we're talking about Iraq. It's the same problem. We have a government that's out of control. So I don't care if they've given money to a pissed off woman or they've given it to a pissed off jihadist. I don't really care what the crime ended up being. The problem is our government. Our governments in the West, they're corrupt. And they're as corrupt as you can fucking possibly get. They're criminal cartels. And I basically am at the point where I refuse to call them by anything else. Because they're nothing more than glorified mafias. Like, really. They're just really, really big mafias that now have gotten to a point where they've almost deitized themselves. They think that of themselves as gods. So what does it matter? Well, which part of the economy or the problems that we argue? Because all the problems all go back to the same spot. They're all started at the same problem, is that we don't have a government that's there to actually do anything for us. It's therefore it's bethroned to a whole bunch of other people that don't give a shit about us. So if you really wanted me to take a strong line on it, I would say it's a foreign entity working against the interests of the American people in an act of committing war. I would actually take that strong, hard line, because unless you do, people don't really understand that you're actually under basically a process of espionage, and you're letting it happen. Your entire system's being fucking ripped apart, limb by limb, seam by seam, and everybody's arguing with the white people are arguing with the black people, and the men are arguing with the women, and the Islams are arguing with the Christians, and everybody's arguing with everything about nothing, because the whole fucking problem is the same fucking thing that we all have a problem with. So I don't know why everybody's running around. And when I start hearing this shit like, oh, I'll post something and say, like, you know, a Facebook group that has to do with men's rights, and somebody will say that has nothing to do with men's rights, and my response will be almost every time, really? The men on the other side of the planet shouldn't have rights just like us? Or do you mean men's rights is only for the men in your area and the men that you want to have? Because if you start going through these groups, you find that there's person after person after person that literally comments on every single controversial post, and the only thing they do is do shutdown comments. They basically call the person out as a liar and this and that. They don't ever bring any facts to the table. They don't ever they don't ever check anything. They don't do anything. All they do is literally, I call it fucking Jew bagging. That's what they're doing. They're Jew bagging. They're just arguing nonsense that makes no fucking sense for an end that has nothing to do with anything. It's what lawyers do. Their job is to go into a courtroom and frame the truth, whether or not whether or not the case is whichever way it is. They're just supposed to go in there and make it all look like that. And that's why I call it Jew bagging, because you go into an area and you pretend to make an argument that isn't actually factual in any fucking sense of the word. It is completely, it's just fucked. It's just lies. And I know a lot of other Jews will turn around and say, oh, this guy's a fucking anti-Semite. Well, I'm a Jew too, and it's something that the Jews have been notorious for. You can't get away from it. It's not racist. It's just what it is. They've been great at, at being lawyers and at being talkers and debaters and negotiators and having to do that very job much through, the last 100 years or so. It's just, fuck, they're good at it. Be proud of it. Don't hate them for it.
Yeah, don't hate them for it. I often tell
drops the mic.
My son being Irish American, there's a reason why the Irish Americans have the Irish Mafia, because of the way we've been treated for the last 400 years. There's a reason for it. There's a reason why we act like we do on a lot of things. And you're going to get this, oh, well, these Irish guys are this, these Irish guys are that. And I tell them, no, there's a reason why we do these things. And there's a reason why we have a system developed to help protect ourselves, because we know what will happen if we don't do these things that we do.
And what it was with Jews was, if you want to talk about the Jew bagging, there was many times that they basically had to talk themselves out of shit, and that was the only thing that kept them alive, because whether it was the Samaritan Israelites or the Jews, both one of them got murdered off in large amounts, and in a large amount of the circumstances, they were given choices like everybody dies or everybody converts. And in a lot of circumstances, everybody, either a bunch of them converted or a bunch of them said that they would convert, but a lot of the time they had to use sweet talk and this and that to get out of their situations. So it kept them alive. It's not something to be ashamed of. You have to understand that they're a very small population of the planet. You're still to this day, you have the West trying to invade the East and then blaming the East for everything always. It's the same story for the last 4,000 years. Doesn't matter who invades. It's always the Eastern's fault.
Okay. Either way, it's a very rough subject.
No, but if you really look at it, you've had almost 4,000 years of war. If we give them 4,000 years of non-war, what are they going to be like?
Yeah, did we learn anything from that? Yeah, you gotta ask yourself.
Do you not understand brutalizing people makes them worse? You can radicalize a nation. And it's not like people don't get it. Like, especially in like Palestine, I can't understand how anybody that speaks out against Israel is called an anti-Semite when almost all of the Palestinians are Shemites biologically. They are more. If we were to look at the Ashkenazi, the Khazar Jews, they only actually hold one heliotype from the matriarchal line. They don't hold the heliotype from the patriarchal line. So they can't actually trace themselves back to Israel on the male line. They can only trace themselves back on the female line.
All of that is arbitrary, in my opinion.
Not to them, because to them, in their culture, you have to be of the mother and the father's side to be an actual Israelite. So you've got these people that are showing up from the other side of the world. They're not Israelites in the actual sense. They don't hold the matriarchal and patriarchal lines that the Palestinians actually do. And they're showing up there and killing people and saying, well, no, it's because it's our land and we're the people of Israel, but we're not even genetically actually as related to them as, it's kind of like, it's ass backwards. It's like turning around and being a half-breed mutt and then showing up at the place and saying all the people that are purebloods are not purebloods, and you're going to kill them all, and you're going to murder them all, and you're going to occupy them, and you're going to take their land. And you're only half of what they actually are when it comes to that claim to that land. So the claim that they actually make is only 50% of what the Palestinians make. That's why I'm getting at it, because the Ashkenazi make a biological claim to the land of Israel, but they actually only hold half that claim.
Okay.
And people that live there actually hold 100% of that claim. So if they're going to show up there and want to live there, should they not at least get along with the fucking people that are 100% fucking Shemite? Not murder them off?
Thanks for the history lesson, buddy.
Okay, I think it's time to move on to other topics here. We're getting, the chat room's really getting lit up there.
Yeah. But, do we have any questions from the?
Let's refer. Yeah, please.
I did see a great movie this week. I ordered it for 6 days and watched it actually 3 times. It was a Henry Rollins. You guys into Henry Rollins?
No, don't know him.
No, yeah. If you get a chance to watch it, it's cheap. It's on Amazon now. It's called He Never Died. And it's kind of this Mgtow guy, and he's got these real Mgtow attitudes, but there's a lot more to the story, but it's the newest Henry Rollins movie that came out, and if you get a chance to watch it. We usually do a couple of movie reviews here.
Yeah, Shining's not in. He's been doing it.
Yeah, Henry Rollins made a great couple videos now about I put it up yesterday, one in part 1 and part 2, and he was being interviewed by this simp. I think he's a simp mangina doctor about what it is to be a man. And at the end, he took Henry Rollins and he said, "Now Henry Rollins actually has 73% femininity and 68% masculinity." And it was such a scientific bias. The methodology that he used to get to the point was like, "Oh, look, he's more feminine." And it was like Henry Rollins. It just showed what they do, and he's kind of the Mgtow guy. He doesn't do a lot of things that the regular Blue Pill Nation does, and he sees it very well. And it's a good thing to watch too. It was 1 and 2 on. I put it up on my Google Plus.
Have any of you guys seen Reverend?
Reverend, that's when I got it on my list. I'm waiting for it to come to a cheaper. Right now I think it costs like $12.99 or something. I'm not going to pay that to own a movie. I just want to rent it for like $4.
Do you need me to hook you up with some good sites so you just don't have to pay for shit?
Yeah, that's what I got to do. I feel bad about doing that, and then sometimes I get a little bug in my computer that
I don't feel bad. They've turned around and taken their power and overextended it, gone into people's homes and tell them what they're allowed to share with other people and this and that. They've over-encroached on my rights, so why should I have any respect for those rights in which they're trying to enforce?
Yeah, that's true. You know, we get a lot of, you can watch it at a lot of places. I used to do that, but, you know, I got this thing now where I just kind of lay back on movies, then I can watch 3 or 4 of them at the same time during a week. It's just like a binge watch.
And there was another movie that I saw that I quoted it as the funniest movie that I had seen of 2015, but I have a very dark humor. But the Hated Eight was just fucking, I laughed my ass off. It's like a 3-hour-long movie by Quentin Tarantino, and it's got Samuel L. Jackson and some other really good actors. And I don't want to ruin the story for you, but man, I laughed my fucking ass off throughout this fucking movie. Oh my god, man. Yeah. It's actually probably the first Quentin Tarantino film that I've ever seen that I could actually say, well, that could have happened. Something along those lines. He's kind of taken a story that's he's gotten a story that he can really go with, and he can do a lot of murder and this and that, and it's realistic for the time and for the tale. And oh fuck, it was.
Are you telling me Django?
Oh, you can say that for Django's similar to that too.
Yeah, it's similar to Django, but it was even better than Django. I liked it.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys watch The Ridiculous Six?
No, haven't seen that.
Oh. Yeah, that's on Netflix. The Netflix original Ridiculous Six. There's a lot of these movies with the Ultimate Seven, the Ridiculous Six, the Hated Eight. It's been a trend in Hollywood these last couple of months. You know, with a group of men. And what was the original one on that with Burt? Was it Burt Lancaster and oh god, there was
12 Angry Men.
Before 12, yeah, even before. I wouldn't seen that play, 12 Angry Men. The Spears, what is that? The Spears Monkey Experiments or something like that?
Oh, you're talking about
the Scopes Monkey Trial. You're referring to Inherit the Wind.
Trials.
Yeah, it's called Inherit the Wind. Yeah. That was a famous 1920s trial.
Yeah, the theater. It was a theater reproduction of the Scopes Monkey Trial. That was an interesting.
Yeah, with Spencer Tracy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyways, so Mgtow topic, Mgtow and dating. How do you guys like? I know a couple of you are Mgtow monks, and I've heard the term white pill, but I don't think I have it in me to take the white pill. I think that I still make the decision a lot of times to stay out of the picture, stay celibate or whatever, just avoid relationships. Or maybe I'm just very picky now. I'm very, very picky. Like a girl could do one wrong thing and I'm just completely turned off by her. But I just don't think that. I don't think I have it in me to be a monk.
How old are you?
Just don't call it dating.
I'm only 30. I mean, I'm still.
Come back in 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what? Me personally, I've noticed as I'm coming closer to 30, I'm caring a lot less about it. Like I remember probably at like 25, I was still a fucking sex-driven maniac. But now, just about to turn 29. It's not really so big of a thing, you know.
It's not, but I'll tell you what. After about, we'll say 6 months or so, I could definitely go for some.
Yeah, that's the difference right there. You're saying you can go for some of that, but we don't call it dating, do we? Dating is a ritual that leads up to marriage. We don't do that ritual that leads up to marriage. If I want to go knock one out, that's just using a vessel, you know.
I do have one of those.
Mgtow monks. Yeah, Mgtow monks look at it differently. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about our sex lives. We don't validate ourselves through it. We don't bring it into discussions because it sidetracks the discussions. To the viewer, it may look like we're celibate, but that's none of their business, whether I'm celibate or not. And I'm not going to talk about whether I'm celibate or not. And by the way, I do those things. Men do. But I don't take it into a ritualistic sense into my life. I just say I'm going to go knock one out. I put a suit and tie on. I go to the bar. I know exactly how to do this because I have a lot of experience doing it. And I put the suit and tie on. I go to the bar. I project myself as a richer male. I knock one out. I don't bring them home where my son or anybody can see them. I don't talk about it. I'm not going to make a video saying, hey, I just knocked one out last night, guys. No, all I used is for a vessel to do it, and it's none of nobody's business. That's where it starts irritating me. When these guys bring that to Mgtow, it does only three things. It sidetracks the topic, you're bragging about your sexual contact, and you're validating yourself through females. Any one of those things disqualifies us as Mgtows.
Absolutely. No, I'm totally with you.
So,
I just want to clear that up.
And also the majority of the bragging too as well. The vast majority is all bullshit, and it's really a cover-up for an insecurity.
It's almost like a reverse pity party.
It's a reverse pity party, but the thing is working a monk. It's that's the focus. It's about being authentic as fucking possible. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
no, you're fine.
Yeah, never in my day's life is a girl going to come into my work, or I'm gonna come on here and say my girlfriend thinks this. I don't care what most guys' girlfriend thinks. I don't care what their.
I don't care what the girls I fucking hang out with think. Fuck. Yeah. Most of the time, I tell them stop fucking telling me what you fucking think. I didn't come out to hang out with you to find out what was on your mind. I came out to hang out with you, get on your fucking pussy. You know this. We've been doing it for a while. What the fuck's wrong?
That's it. There's nothing wrong with that. And in this title that when we say Mgtow mugs, don't these guys know we're being sarcastic? Don't these guys? And that tells on them.
Well, when you got the Mgtow monks and the word white pill, you start to think, oh wow, these guys are like really going. And then you see videos about like how it's kind of similar to the Buddhist monks and all this. I mean, if that's all you see, then I was like, okay, so they're basically ghosting, but okay, they just have more of an ideology behind that.
Telling on it, that's telling on themselves when they don't see the sarcasm in us, because we know there's three types of people that don't see sarcasm, irony, and humor. That's autistic children, that's women, and white knights. They don't see this. What we're saying. If they recognize that we're being sarcastic, that's how I take my friends around here. If you can recognize the sarcasm in what I'm saying, you're a male, and you're probably more of an alpha male type that doesn't talk about his sex and doesn't need to validate. It's a simple it's a shit test I run.
Yeah,
and, if I call myself,
it's also like you have to think about it this way. I guess is the best way. If we were to put the amount of attention that women are going to get from us on a scale from 1 to 10, it's never going to go past 1. Even if we end up sticking our cock in them, it's really never ever going to go past level 1. We're going to go get our thing done, and that's it. They're never going to get to level 5 with us. They're never going to get anywhere close to level 10. That's going to drive them nuts. That's probably where they're going to have sex with us the next time.
Right.
But yeah,
if I don't,
it's that you don't even want the gratification or any of the acknowledgement that you even had a woman around, because it's not something to be proud of. That you turned around and you had to go dip it out or this or that. It's nobody's business, but it's just like, hey, I went and did it, this and that. But I'm not going to glorify women just because I stuck my cock in one. My cock going into one doesn't make them a better person. I don't need to then go and talk to them, talk about them, talk about this or that, or, I felt relaxed for 4 hours after. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Fuck off. It's not about bragging and glorifying it. It's about just completely neutralizing it and acting, not acting like it's not there, but actually making it not there. So, you'll have your women, but they're not the focus of your life. They're not part of your life in the sense that you wake up every morning and say, oh, when am I going to see my girlfriend? It's not like that. It's like, well, I'm going to do my thing, this and that. And then when you have a day that you're, off your rocks or this or that, then you're like, you know what? I'm going to go out. I'm going to have my fun. I'm going to do this, that, and, I'm not going to really talk about it.
Yeah, there's a whole ideology. There's an ideology behind Mgtow that a lot of guys don't get, and there's an ideology behind Mgtow monks that a lot of guys don't get. No one's telling you not to do this. Just have a little etiquette about it, like a man would.
And I think that probably a lot of the monks were kind of all retired PUAs. The vast majority of us. It's not that we.
Yeah, I think we are.
We were probably natural PUAs at one time. And we had no problem picking up women, talking to women, that kind of stuff. But
right, there's no problem. I don't have a problem picking up women. When these guys tell on themselves, they're telling on themselves that they go see that PUA stuff, because I've never had that problem in my life. It, it just gets to a point with these guys that that's all they're thinking about, and that so diverts the topic of Mgtow.
No, and you know what? I've said this before in one of my videos. I tried to point it out that really at the end of the day, women all want successful men. So if you're that much of a fucking dog and you actually want women, stop focusing on them, because they're never going to pay attention to you as long as you do, and start focusing on you. Because when you start building yourself up as a man above the rest of the crowd, and you start investing in yourself, that's when they start to see there's a lot to be stolen from you. Because you've put all that investment in yourself. So they're like, oh, motherfucker, if I get in that fucking group, well, that motherfucker's giving himself everything, and all I need to do is latch onto that. You don't want to get into any of it.
Right. Yeah, when Sandman brought up the Mgtow monks thing, what he was doing is using shaming language on men that just got it, that just understand it at a deeper level. And what he was doing is saying, why can't I understand the Mgtow monks' philosophy? That's what he was saying, and that's why it was so offensive. A lot of guys see it, and a lot of guys don't see it. If they're one of the guys that don't see my philosophy and how that lines up totally with Mgtow, then I have to ask, what level of Mgtow are they? And I'll put those guys in their correct spot. They can do whatever they want over there, but they just can't do it with me, because I know sooner or later they're going to bring that to the table and offend me.
Yeah.
So you know, the Mgtow monks thing, man, I wish I could just, you know, get everybody in Mgtow to understand. I'm doing it in sarcasm, because if you don't understand sarcasm, you're a retard.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's men going their own way. We're not supposed to be betrothed to women, but if we decide to use a woman on a day, are we, does that somehow, does it add a strike against us? Because
does it
we used a woman the way that a woman would use a man?
Right. It goes back to reverse hypergamy. Hey, guys, you can be hypergamous as hell, too. Get something from it. If there's a female out there, and this is the biggest white knighting thing, if I say to a guy that I'm just using this bitch to get a new ski-doo, and I get my ski-doo, you're gonna have 10 white knights jump out of the closet and go, "That's wrong, man." But a woman does that every single day to people.
Every relationship, every friendship. Fuck, the girl that broke up with me, she's giving me this huge heartbroken story how after she broke up with me, she got some other guy to buy her phone for her, and now he's expecting her to have sex with her, and she doesn't want to, and she doesn't know what to do because he owns her phone and she has to pay him for the bill. And I'm like, well, you're the fucking dumbass that went and got yourself in all this fucking stupidity. Like, fuck off. Why do you think when you broke up with me, I was like, okay, bye-bye? It's kind of like when the deal ends, it's kind of like, great, especially if they leave me. Because then I know it's going to be nice and easy. Usually they don't do too much damage on the way out.
Right, yeah. This is putting yourself in a better position to take advantage of society in your benefit, not the female benefit. And that's what we talked about most of this broadcast, is you need to put yourself in a better position to win. Don't be playing from behind the 8 ball. You're going to lose. You're going to lose every time. The system is rigged.
It's not even that you're going to lose every time. It's that you most likely will lose every time.
You most likely.
You want to turn around and just stack your deck as best you can. Think about this as like a card game or whatever fucking fashion, whatever concept you need to put it in your head so it makes sense. But you can't come to the table with everybody else knowing your cards and you having really nothing to play.
Right. A few years ago, maybe 10 years, I think Zato will remember this. The guy from Florida, the Playboy from Florida, was using male hypergamy to bilk old ladies out of their wealth. And
yeah, that was in the 90s, the 80s and 90s. That went on a lot.
90s.
You know,
they put that guy in jail for doing the same thing that women do to us every day, but they put him in jail for doing that.
Yep.
That was I thought that was one of my MGTOW moments that woke me up, and I said to myself, hey, that guy's not doing nothing that women don't do every day. Every woman don't do every day.
One of my first videos when I got to MGTOW was, well, obviously, guys, we've been fucked so hard that there's no point in even doing anything, but if you still want to have kids, find a rich fucking lady, be a stay-at-home dad, do whatever the fuck you want to do, go to the gym, fuck another woman on the side, do all this fucking stuff, and let them go to fucking work and be miserable for the rest of their fucking lives and just taking their fucking money like they take to you.
Right, that was strong, independent woman. You know, that I want one of those because I want her going to work and doing that slave labor I used to do while I sit here and flip through the fucking cable system every day.
I've had that though.
And drink
you know
beer.
What? You know what? I had that, and I didn't like it. I felt bad. Like I felt like deeply bad inside. I did it for about 3 months. I dated this cougar that was about 10 years older than me. You know, she comes and hangs out with me the first time, brand new Mercedes-Benz. She's got a huge, you know, $3.5 million home, takes vacations all over the world. She bought me $15,000 worth of clothes the third week that I knew her. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She turns around and she says to me, I don't really like the way you dress, you know. It's kind of too young, like you're a gangster or something. And I said, well, you know, these are my outdoor clothes. And I have work clothes, but I don't really like wearing my work clothes when I'm outdoor or doing normal things. She's like, well, you need to change your dress code. And I was like, well, if you want to buy me a whole new wardrobe, no problem.
Yeah.
Next day,
no problem.
That was what happened. She took me out to the store, and she just started grabbing shit off the racks. And she's like, see if that fits, see if that fits, see if that fits, see if that fits, see if that fits. $15,000 fucking later, she bought me an Escalade. That was when I had enough. I was like, no, I can't take a $60,000 fucking Escalade. I can't do this. This is wrong. I don't know how women can do this. And there was that, and then the other thing was, I was like, she fucking drinks too much, and she's a little bit crazy. Am I going to stand here for a long period of time just to get some money out of this? The fuck? Like, can I do this?
Right.
Am I actually going to be able to put up with this?
You got to put some restraints on that. Like we say, you know when to kick her out of your house, and you've got all you need to get out of that. And
and she was trying to get me to sell my house and move into her house, and I had only known her for a month. She started trying to get me to move into her house. Oh, bud, it was crazy. She glorified me as like an idol piece because I was much more attractive than her ex-husband. So she basically, I think that she was using me a lot like a statue piece, you know, like, oh, look how much better I can get. Oh, he's younger and he's better looking and this and that. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I've just been through so many bad relationships in the past. I'm looking for somebody else to take care of me instead of caring for everybody else.
Use that. Use that shit. They do that all the time.
Yeah, so I tried it, but you know, it came to a certain point where she was drinking all the time. She was fighting with me all the time, and at first we'd have our, you know, intense debates, but then later on, she started getting like really, really aggressive. And you know, I'm like honest about everything in my history of my family and my past, and she was like hardcore anti-Shemite, like super hardcore. Like it didn't matter how many wrongs I admitted that my people did. This bitch was on a fucking. She was literally like, she's like, I can't ever tell you. I can't ever tell my parents that you're a fucking Jew. I can't ever fucking tell them that, and all this shit. And it's like, holy fuck, this bitch is getting crazier and crazier by the day. We gotta get the fuck out of here soon.
Knowing when to cut that stuff off is the principle. My sons, if you ask any one of my children at a certain time we'll be sitting around for dinner in my house, and someone will start getting a little aggressive. And then one of them will look up and say, you know the rules. And like, what rule? The rule, we don't argue, we don't fight around here. That's one of my rules. That's it. And that will get her kicked out of the house. You put those simple stipulations on your masculinity, where this is what I will take in my house, because all of this around here, all of this on my channel, all of this in real life in my house, out to that backyard up, is mine. It's mine. Realizing that and having rules about those things is generally where I said they can come to the door, they can act politely, they can flip out a little ass if they want, but when it's time to leave, it's time to leave, and I make those rules.
You know what? I don't actually think that it was. I think it was partially her parent, or like her, or what? Basically, her parents are Polish, right? And they're ethnic Poles, and certain or a lot of ethnic Poles have a extremely like distasteful anti-Semitism. Like they literally say, like any of the Jews that were in Poland when Germany invaded, they should have marched up to the front line and surrendered. That's like how against them they are, and that's like how her family was like she couldn't let them know that I was a Jew because they basically think I was the devil. Yeah. So I've seen it both sides. But yeah, she had a lot of fucking money, and the biggest thing was I found out just before I broke up with her that all of her money that she supposedly said that she was having for herself, she was a lawyer. And she did work for one of Canada's largest news stations as one of their in their like lawyer's office. But
how can this benefit?
But she was highly in debt, so she was buying all this stuff and like wanting to take me on trips and this and that. But she was borrowing $5,000 a week from her father, and that really bothered me. Because it was like, okay, so I'm not actually living off the money of some woman. I'm living off the money of some man, and that really bothered me. Because it wasn't like I was outrooting the system. It was kind of like I was enabling it, and it was kind of like I was the
we know the women. We know the women that games women play. It's some kind of daddy. They always need some kind of daddy, whether that be daddy government.
Yeah, and her dad's like super rich. He's like a CEO of one of the world's largest he's the head engineer for one of the world's largest offshore drilling rig operation companies. So the guy's got millions upon millions of dollars, but I felt really, really, really bad. And like she had a daughter, and her daughter was starting to become real friendly with me, and I was like, no, I'm getting involved with the family, and the kids starting to like me, and fuck this, I'm getting so attached, and I'm not feeling deep inside me that this is going to be something that lasts long. I feel like this is going to be a short-term thing, and I was just like, no, I can't do it. But women, you put them in that same position, none of those thoughts go through their head. And if they do,
none of them.
Even if they do, they have so much outside influence that tells them, no, that's what you should be doing. That's what they do. Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking about this is about 2 hours we're working on here, and I like to keep the first one at about 2 hours. That way we can pick it up about 4 again, and then maybe we'll go on for the 8 hours then. But just for palatability. On the first one of the day, I'm probably going to end this one now. Anybody got anything they want to ask or say, or yell at us, or or just have any comments before we take our short midday break?
Well, I'll say peace out and enjoy. And if anybody has any conversation that they'd like to make with me directly about any of my comments, go for it. I'm more than willing to show you the proofs of where I found my breadcrumbs and where I went.
Yes, Steph's an intelligent, thinking, rational male. You can have them conversations with him if you want. So
you can go word for word with me, and we can have a debate and all that kind of stuff. You start taking an ad hominem, or you start taking off the basis, and you start not making an argument. I'm going to go right back at you. I'm going to play the same games you play with me, so that you understand what it's like.
What is you know what the old adage is? Ask a stupid question, you'll get a stupid answer. I always take that to heart. Okay, Mgtow Jesus, any closing any closing comments from the deity? think we might have lost him too.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. Okay, with that, I'm going to wrap this up and stop the broadcast, and we'll start up again. I don't know if it's going to be on Zeta's channel. If Zeta wants to do it, it'll probably be back on my channel for the Traversable 2 Throwdown, and we'll get some more talking points and restart at about 4. Okay, guys, have a good day. Thanks for joining the Throwdown. And this was an easy one. Hey, we had Link Blue in. We were supposed to get... I have to fix that problem with Men's 101 so we can get Men's 101 on there, Men's Knowledge 101, and see if I can work something out with him where we can get him into a broadcast. So we'll have a couple hours to do those things. Make your dinner. Watch a football game. There's football games on today. The Browns are probably losing. I know I have the most pathetic team ever in the face of the universe, but I learned how to lose then. And with that, I'm going to stop this broadcast. Thanks a lot, guys.